Adam, you and I have talked before. You do so much that doesn't show up on the stat sheet that just makes your team better, but yet still get 6 sacks last year that nobody seemed to notice, which are huge. You are one of the most gap-disciplined defensive tackles in the entire National Football League. It is a skill, the way you are a tactician. Going against the Lamar Jackson, you got to be giving everybody tips, because if they're not gap sound, it is going to be a long day.
Yeah.
So as one of the best in the whole National Football League, how do you talk to guys about showing that discipline?
I think it's just, repetition and just re-stressing the issue. I think gap discipline is a choice. If you pop out of your gap, you made a choice. So I think it's just repetition. Just to get that to stick and just continuing to stress the importance of having rush lane, and gap integrity.
You're not a guy that's going to get out there and say, "Look at me." You're very disciplined in your life, and do you think that's maybe why you fly under the radar so much? Because you're a terrific talent. Do you think that's why? Because it isn't, "Look at me." You're just I'm going to go do what I got to do. I don't care. Do you think maybe that is one reason why people don't think about that, but then they turn the film on and the film doesn't lie?
Yeah, the film doesn't lie. But I think I would say to the average viewer, my game is just a little complex. If I were to explain, what I do and the importance of it to somebody, I think their mind would be blown, because they just watching the game, they don't realize that that's what's happening. But when you really break it down and break down the science behind my game and what I do, it's very complex. And I think because the average person watching football doesn't know it like that, that's why I fly under the radar.
That's a great point. Just 2 more questions. I'll be quick. But having gotten to know you and how...
This is Max.
Yeah, that's Max being Max. But knowing you and how you are so disciplined, and let's talk about that gap discipline. That's hard.
Yeah.
So did that come from your parents? Did they instill discipline in you? Did it come from coaches? Because that's not natural. I mean, you can't teach size. That comes from God.
Yeah.
There are things you can't teach. Gap discipline is just a choice. Where did you learn to be so disciplined?
Yeah, you kind of said it. My parents have been married, about 30 years, maybe a little over, maybe a little under. I have to ask them. I don't remember. But I know they got married around the time I was born, probably a little bit before. So at least 30 years. And it takes extreme discipline to be married that long. I myself am recently married, and I pray that I can be as disciplined, as my parents and things like that. But definitely growing up in a 2-parent household helped a lot with discipline. My father is also a military veteran, so
I got one of those too, brother.
Yeah, so you know how that goes. Like discipline,
they ain't playing.
That's a requirement in a household like that. And my parents, they're a big part of why I'm so disciplined.
That's awesome. Last question from me. How do you, because you're such a veteran presence. Everybody was disappointed with the loss on Sunday, but how do you go to guys and explain, listen, an upset later in the year negates this, just keep your eyes focused, because it's such a young team. How do you do that?
It's really just the mindset of you can't change the past. You got to move on. And I sort of look at I look at it like, we had problems the first game, but problems really aren't the problem. I know that sounds crazy, but problems really aren't the problem.
Opportunity.
Problems aren't the problem. It's when you don't fix it.
Yeah. Yep.
That's really the problem. It's not that you made a mistake. It's when you don't fix it. That's when it's an actual problem. So now all we have to do is just fix the mistakes, because if you look at it, we had a decent game. I'm only speaking for, myself and defensively. That's all I can speak.
Yeah, I thought you were terrific.
Side of the ball. Yeah, had a great game, but I did have a couple of plays where undisciplined behavior actually got the best of me. On one play or another, but for 99% of the game, I was very disciplined, and, it paid off. But just fixing the issues and the mistakes that we made is really the key. Not fixing those issues is like an apology without, the change of action. It's pointless, right?
Yeah. One of the things that I really like about you is you enjoy the game.
Yeah.
I understand. I work for a living. You work for a living. We get paid. It's a job too.
Yeah.
But I love my job. and you do too. So when you are a guy who loves football,
Yeah.
there is a side of you, and I just love it because I'll see you down on the field and I'll crack up. You're smart. I think you're the guy that says, I want to play Lamar Jackson. I'm Adam Butler. I want to play at the highest level, so I want to go against the best. I think you look at this and relish it like it's Christmas. Am I misreading you?
No, you aren't. You're not misreading me at all. You know, but you know now, like I mentioned earlier, that I'm recently married. You know, I have a new why. You know, for the game. You know, I love my wife. I love my daughter. I love my family, and I love the game. You know, so just all of that, you know, combined is what pushes me to just be happy and enjoy every moment. You know, and I just don't take it for granted.
Awesome.